pulled, he had a Movado that he had for years. I pulled the Movado out of the garbage and I had it fixed and polished, and I'm giving it to him first, letting him think that that's the watch. So. Coming back home, he was the sweetest guy. He met me at the airport. He picked up a dozen roses, met me at the airport, and this is only after 2 dates, technically. We had spoken on the phone for a month, and he picked me up at the airport, and he took me back to my apartment. And he must have been really nervous because he had a full glass of red wine that he wound up spilling all over my comforter.
And I was sure that was it. That was the end. I was ready to walk home right there.
And ordinarily, I think I would have lost my cool, but for whatever reason, I just stayed really calm and collected and
said, "Don't worry about it." It made me feel comfortable.
Said,
like
"Don't worry
wrong.
about
right.
it. Yeah, we'll fix it."
If I did it now, forget about it.
First time I got to see her after she was born, she was already walking around a coffee table holding on. It was just prior to when she was beginning to walk. And it was almost like she was a cure for me. She brought me back. I mean, this was suddenly life happening in front of me, and so she became very special to me. She was the girl who brought me back to life.
I love the way my grandmother looks. Most important.
So I have, it's a very special memory, and I don't even think he knows about it, because it happened to me.
What I'm going to say is, may it only work out for the best. May it be as long as my marriage, 55 years, and still going.
I'll be thinking a great deal about my parents and Jeffrey's grandma Adele also, and how very proud they would be of him, how he turned out to be such a wonderful, wonderful person. And I'm sure they'll be with us there also, because we'll miss him, and they loved him very much too. And I think Melissa is just the perfect person for Jeffrey, and she makes him complete, and I know they love each other very much. And we wish them all the very, very best, all the many years of their lives.
To have all my friends and family there that day. Most of our family and friends, our closest family and friends will be there to spend the happiest day of our life with us. I think growing up with my mom and dad, the way they raised us, it was just how much love they had as parents for both me and my sister, and how their whole, it seems like sometimes their whole reason for living, their whole existence is to make sure that me and my sister are happy and are properly set in our ways and are following in their footsteps of just ourselves finding loving people that we can end up marrying and cherishing. And I think that's what I love most about my parents, is that they're both very so giving, both with material and financial things and financial support for me and also for my sister throughout all the years, but also just always willing to be there for us at any given moment, and of always being able to drop anything they're doing in a heartbeat just to make sure that me and my sister are taken care of, and that they could be there for us.
Okay, well, I think going down the aisle will just be a little sad that he's not going to be with us anymore, nearby, because he was in Queens, now in Manhattan. Well, at least he's not moving far away, so we'd like. And I know Jeffrey and Melissa are deeply in love because they've known each other for a few years already, and nothing to date has come between them.
Many years have passed since those summer days among the fields of barley. See the children.
When I walk Melissa down the aisle, I think I'm going to be in tears the whole way down. As a matter of fact, now that it's a week before the wedding, I'm already teary-eyed because it's my little baby grown up. She's entering a new phase of her life, and now it's time for me to let go, and it's difficult for me to do that. Well, I don't tell her enough how much I love her. It's not always, but sometimes it's difficult for me to express, and I regret the times that I just didn't say it. I think she's felt it, but I never express it enough as I would like to express it. Or I should say I haven't expressed it enough. And Melissa, I love you so much, and you mean the world to me, and I want the very best for you, and this is the beginning of a new era in your life, and I want you to begin this journey with everything good for you.
You're just a very, very special treasure of mine. And I wish the next time we meet I can get more than the top of your head to kiss. It's a real solid hug. But even though you don't like that too much, every being inside me feels like giving that hug because you're so very, very special.
I really don't think there's any way I could ever express how much I admire and I love my mom. Maybe shut it off because I can't. She, when she left my father, she really did it because she felt that that was the best thing for me and my brother, and that she did everything she could to give us the best life that we could have. She wanted us to have everything that she didn't have growing up, and she really went out of her way to make everything extra special, including this wedding. I always joke around that we're getting married because I feel like it's mine and my mom's wedding together. Sorry, Jeff. But I do. She's an amazing person with amazing energy. Sometimes I have no idea how she does it. And she's given her whole life to me and my brother. My stepfather is just completely different because he's totally wacko. He's totally wacko.
Make sure that gets in.
There aren't many people out there that would take a woman with 2 teenage children into their home, support them, clothe them, and love them the way that he's loved us. It's pretty amazing. He really has put my brother and I especially above himself in the same way that my mother has, and it just, to me, it reiterates how much he loves my mother. I've learned to admire him for really what he did for us in the past. I think I took it for granted in the past. I think that's probably what I could say the most about Gary. I mean, he's goofy, he's funny, he cracks corny jokes, he tries to make everybody smile. He has some weird, quirky things about him, but in the end, he's the best thing for my mother, and he was the best thing for me, and I really treat him like a father.
Baruch
ato Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher kedeshanu b'mitzvosav v'tzivonu la'royos v'yosam lonu es harusos v'telonu es hanesos lonu al yedei chuppah v'kiddushin Baruch ato Adonai mekadesh amo Yisrael al yedei chuppah v'kiddushin.
He wasn't that nice the first time I met him. So he chooses to forget that. We went out for a friend of mine's birthday. He came out and he approached me and tried to use one of those cheesy pickup lines. And it just totally rubbed me the wrong way.
Mind you, I'm not a big drinker, so I had a couple of drinks beforehand, which might have affected the way I approached Melissa at that time. I think I had a little charm on me. Until I probably said, I was probably nervous, I probably said something like, what do you think of me? Don't you find me attractive?
He was a little forward.
Something like that, exactly. Unfortunately, the alcohol.
Yes, they put him in a cab that night.
Yes,
the
I remember how I got
bouncer of
home
the bar
that
put him in a cab that night and said, "You've had one too many." So we don't really count that as our initial first time. We met through a group of friends, and I remember sitting across the table thinking, "That guy's kind of cute."
And I was, of course, thinking the same thing. I met you once or twice before at senior, and I'm like, I really like Melissa. I think I'm gonna ask our friend Lauren, our mutual friend Lauren, for her phone number, to give her a call.
And then he didn't call.
Good. This is yours?
Is anyone coercing you or forcing you into this marriage?
No,
Of your own free will, you're willing to become married.
of my own free will.
Okay, that's good to know. On this finger. Just hold this one up. Right? Okay, you ready?
Okay.
You have to hear the witness. You have to hear the words. Say it loud so they hear it, and then they have to see the ring go over. Mazel tov. Mazel tov. Mazel tov.
We went out as a group of friends again, and this time I think we went to a casino.
Right.
And
Foxwoods.
Foxwoods?
Right. My intention was, I think to get her phone number to call her and start it out as just the normal dating routine. And I was all frazzled that day, I remember, and I didn't expect Melissa to be coming with us. I just thought it was that group of friends and some other friends that would be going, so I was all dressed in like some of my worst clothes. I remember I borrowed my parents' older car that day, and I was also frazzled.
Call.
I didn't.
You didn't call.
I think the main reason I didn't call was because I think I felt Melissa was a little bit out of my league at the time.
And then it was funny because I had totally blocked him out of my mind. I was changing jobs at the time, and I remember being on the phone with a friend of mine, actually the girl that set us up, Lauren, and I said to her, your friend Jeff never called. And coincidentally, that night you called.
Yes. It really was a coincidence. Melissa to this day keeps thinking that Lauren had called me and told me to call Melissa.
Wouldn't
because
you?
Melissa called me. But it was honestly a complete 100% coincidence. Maybe I must have been fate, not a coincidence. It was at Cafe Wa on our second date in the village. And the best thing about it was it came unexpectedly. Just while we were sitting down on the couches over there with the band playing. It wasn't like really an awkward first kiss.
Yeah, it did. It was nice.
Yeah.
Our relationship initially was kind of weird. Right after that second date, I flew out to LA for a shoot. I was away for a month. And in a way, it was, I think, a really good thing because it forced us to talk on the phone and really get to know each other for who we were. I do. If there's a way you can get to know somebody without the physical intimacy involved, I think helped us.
It's very clear our love is here to stay, not for a year, but forever and a day. The radio and the telephone and the movies that we know may just be passing fancies, and in time may go. Oh, my dear.
The first time as husband and wife, the little Mr. and Mrs. Jeffrey Seewald.
Well, Melissa was away on one of her shoots.
Again,
Shooting a commercial for
another
Kleenex.
month.
Actually, you were in
Italy.
Italy. She was away for Italy for a month. I knew I had wanted to propose to Melissa starting from, I think, that February or March. What year?
I didn't know that.
2001. 2002. I really also wanted to surprise her when she totally wouldn't expect it, because every time before we had traveled to a couple of places prior to that, like like Paris, and everyone was like expecting that
Well,
the
we went to
proposal-
Paris for Valentine's Day
So
and
she was
our
expecting-
anniversary,
yeah.
so everybody naturally assumed it was going to happen.
And then every time we went to a nice restaurant after that, Melissa felt it might happen, so I wanted to take her completely off guard.
And he
So-
did.
And I did. And also the night she was supposed to come home from her shoot, I also had tickets to a concert, which she knew about. But she was almost 100% sure that she would, land at the airport, go home, wouldn't see me till the next day.
Oh, I was so convinced that night that I came home from that shoot that I was gonna get into my purple pajamas, eat Chinese food, because all I'd been eating was Italian food all month, and just go to bed and sleep, and I couldn't wait to be alone.
I had first planned to get a limo and surprise Melissa at the airport in a limousine with flowers and rose petals all over the limo, waiting there with a diamond engagement ring, and then we would take the limo back to her apartment, and waiting in her apartment would be more rose petals, candles all over the apartment, tablecloth all set, and a kitchen table with fine china, and ready for a gourmet meal, and I would have taken her completely off guard. But what I didn't expect, and which happened last minute, was that she wasn't coming home alone from her shoot. She was coming home with a coworker. So I couldn't pick Melissa up in a limo at the airport with her coming back with her friend. And there was no way at that point I could reach her friend in Italy to tell her to change her plans or anything like that. So I had to go to plan B. Plan B was basically, instead of doing the limo, I ended up just decorating her apartment with the rose petals,
It was
table linens,
beautiful.
everything, and had the ring set up in a heart shape on her bed, and with rose petals and flowers in the shape of a heart. But I knew she was coming back to her apartment with her friends. So I didn't want to propose to Melissa with her and her friend walking in her apartment knowing they're going to drop their stuff off and then go back to the office for a little bit. So what I did was, I hid all my preparations under Melissa. I had the key to her apartment because I was friends with her roommate. So I hid all the preparations under her bed and in her roommate's room. I scoped outside her apartment and spied the whole day waiting for Melissa and her friend to stop off her apartment to drop their stuff off.
Time I heard all this, I would call him on my cell phone when I landed, and I heard all this wind in the background, and I'm like, where are you?
And I kept saying I was at work.
You kept saying, I'm at work. What are
With
you
the windows
talking
open. Really, I
about?
was down her
I'm in
block
the
spying
library
on her.
with the windows open.
But really, I was down the block spying her to see when she would go in the apartment and leave so I could set everything up for when she comes back an hour later. And then I knew Melissa was coming back home after. She just had to run to the office with her friend to take care of some last minute stuff.
Are you kidding? I got my hair blown out.
That's what she really did. So then once I saw her and her friend leave, I immediately ran up to the apartment and ran under her bed, got all the preparations out, set everything up, and then I just waited patiently in her apartment for her to return.
And in the meantime, I walked into the apartment, and there was this beautiful path of red, white, and pink rose petals lined with candles down like an aisle. And I remember seeing the bathroom door closed, and I called Jeff's name out. I had a feeling it wasn't my roommate that created this spread for me. And I called Jeff's name out, and he didn't answer. All the bedroom doors had been closed. And I thought you were in the shower, actually. And I walked into my room, and I opened the door, and there Jeff was on one knee. There was like a pile of rose petals shaped in a heart on my bed, and there he was with the box, and I can't remember for the life of me what he said. I think I was so shocked. I really thought it was a Dave Matthews concert. I thought he was going to be there. He's a big Dave Matthews fan, and we had gotten the tickets so long ago.
I actually had wrote down what I was going to say. I had memorized it, but of course I didn't save what I wrote down. So after I said it, I think we both forgot. You didn't say yes.
I didn't say yes?
It was more like, what's happening?
I started hyperventilating. All I remember was 2 hours later, I was sitting down and looking at my fingers saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's real. I was shocked. All I know is I looked over about an hour later, you know, and I saw the path of where I must have been standing because there was a bottle of water sitting on the floor, you know, tilted over. My books were on the floor, and all you saw was the outline of where I was standing. Gary worked at a camp that I was sending my 2 children to. He was the transportation director at Camp Kenwall, and I met him actually through the phone first, and all of our conversations were usually unpleasant ones because I usually had to complain to him. I went to the camp on June 28, 1985 to take care of some camp matters,
And unbeknownst to me, Gary was checking out all the single women. And I didn't know that at the time. And when I came into the camp, he was very anxious to help me, even though I was not anxious to be helped. I was only interested in being, taking care of the camp business. And one thing led to another, and we started dating, and we got married right away.
Well, actually, it starts in 1984 because at one of the camp functions, this woman drove and I direct traffic, and I told her to stop, and she ignored me and ran into me. So the first contact with her was physical contact, where she tried to kill me.
Melissa's definitely helped me grow as a person. She makes up where I'm deficient. She's very organized, and we worked well together with the wedding. There were some differences, and we're both very strong-minded. So we had arguments at times about certain aspects of the wedding. But she is, very organized and efficient, and I admire that, and I wish I could be more like her.
I'll never forget when Melissa and I secretly planned the 50th birthday party for Carol. We had done the total arrangement, inviting all the people, getting the place and everything without her knowledge, which was a mean trick, and Melissa was fabulous. We had special codes to talk to each other at special times of doing it, and everything was arranged without her knowing it. It was a tremendous surprise to see all these people show up for her birthday. It was wonderful.
You marry a music man.
Okay, our first meeting was through a friend, and it was a blind date. And we took a little ride upstate, on a weekday, just so if things didn't work out, we wouldn't, waste a weekend day. And things worked out okay, and subsequently made additional meetings, and things worked out.
Well, he forgot to tell you that after the first date, I had broken a glass during the date. So he called me the next day, and he said that the owners filed a complaint, and the police were after me because I had broken their glass. And I knew right away he had a great sense of humor, and I really liked that about him.
Tickets out for gone. Turning back.
Jeff was really small in the strollers. It was every Saturday morning Molly would do stuff around the house, do her hair, and I would take Jeffrey in the stroller, just me and him, down a very steep street down Van Cortlandt Park. We'd watch the horses which he liked, and I'd get some coffee and eat a little breakfast while he was in the stroller. Just like the two of us were together during that time. Just me and him, and he'd fall asleep sometimes in the stroller. Those days can't come back.
Just watching him grow up from a little boy to this wonderful grown, wonderful man, and just amazing, and you feel so proud of him and what he does and how he is, and crazy about him.
And you can hear me when I say it softly.
I'm so happy to be here today, seeing Jeffrey and Melissa married. My brother means a great deal to me, and his happiness is my happiness. So I wish him and Melissa all the happiness in the world. Jeffrey, I have really cherished our relationship over the years. You're not only a brother to me, but also a best friend. I hope this relationship will last for the rest of our lives. When Melissa and Jeffrey asked me to be the best woman, I was really touched by the gesture. At that point, my brother had given me a card, and in this card was all these different inside jokes about our childhood together that only the two of us would get and would think was crazy and funny. And this card meant so much to me because it showed me the special bond that we share. And at the end of the card, my brother wrote to me how he knows that I look up to him. And he wrote to me that he really looks up to me too. And that just showed me that he felt the same way about our relationship that I did. And Jeffrey, I will always be proud to be your little sis. And I want to welcome Melissa into our family, and I'm so touched that he met such a wonderful girl that makes him so happy. And I wish the two of you every happiness and the best that life has to offer, because you two, I know I always make fun of you that you always like the best things and the finest quality, but it just shows me that the finest quality people deserve the finest quality things. So mazel tov.
And especially for my sister Melissa, who I love very much, who kind of brought me through a lot of difficult times in my life. She was incredible for me. And this is a very difficult time for me to see my sister marry off to another man. And I'm really excited to have Jeff part of the family right now. He is an incredible, incredible person. And I'm so honored and so lucky to have met him and my sister marrying him. So, salud for my sister, and for Jeff, and for the whole Seewald family, and my mom and dad, salud.
Well, we met the end of 1946 on a blind date. Deserted me, went to Florida with her mother.
What happened was he knew where I was staying. He wanted to know when I was coming home, and he made a date with me the following night.
I think we went to Tavern on the Green.
Yeah, I figured a blind date, he wasn't going to get away with anything. I wasn't going to let him be a cheapie. So I made sure that we went out nicely.
We had tickets for the ice show.
He borrowed his father's car, and that's pretty much what happened. It cost him a fortune, but he came back anyway.
I think after the first date.
I can't say that.
Well, I can.
No, I didn't feel that way at all. I think in me definitely was a growth thing. He grew on me. And I found I was very comfortable and I liked him. Got married about a year later and been married since 48. We're married 55 years now.
When I met Ruth, I was out of the service, I think, less than a year. And I was hungry for social life. Of course, I didn't have any. Being stationed in New Guinea, there wasn't any social life there. And she was really my first date. First real date.
I guess after the New Guinea women, I must have looked very attractive.
Life is too short, and we shouldn't dwell on unimportant matters. We should think of the overall important things about family and how one cares about the other and not worry about the small stuff. And I learned that the hard way myself. You know, I used to be very intense, and I used to be an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, but I've learned to mellow out a little bit and take it as it comes, and you know, and whatever obstacles are thrown in your direction, to just go with the flow.
Find this 200 years from now, I think I should indicate what's most important to me, and that is religion. And I hope everybody knows that I'm trying to follow as best as I can. And my advice for any of my descendants is fear God and follow His commandments, because everything will be fine with you if you do that.